Good evening. This is Making the Case, and I'm your host, Yodit Tewolde. Yesterday wrapped day 7 of the R. Kelly trial, and after the prosecution called a third accuser to the stand, the question on everyone's mind is, will Kelly take the stand in his own defense against some of the most damning and detailed testimony we've learned so far? Court was not in session today since taking a recess after a long day of testimony yesterday, which means the jurors have a long weekend to contemplate over hours of accounts from 3 of Kelly's accusers. The women told similar stories, namely that R. Kelly was controlling and knowingly had sex with them when they were underage. Back with me for another night with his expert analysis is veteran prosecutor and BNC legal contributor Paul Henderson. Paul, before we get to the question of whether Kelly will take the stand, how would you sum up this week's testimony, and is the prosecution proving the elements they need to get a conviction?
I think this week's testimony has been pretty powerful, and I think it was intentional that prosecutors put these victims on the stand to paint a narrative that these allegations are personal to specific people, that these are horrendous acts, that these are folks that have been wounded, that have been exposed to vile behavior and STDs. And those are the kind of facts and the kind of testimony that resonates and lays the foundation for whatever evidence is going to come forward from the prosecution, but in a way that's personalized to these victims, that's going to make it powerful. And, we started talking about this yesterday. Part of their narrative was giving insights as to who R. Kelly was and how he behaved, not just as a celebrity, but as someone that has treated them badly, as someone who has made bad decisions for them and forced them to do bad things. That's the kind of stuff, especially over a long weekend, that they will be focused on listening to, paying attention to, and thinking about. And that's before we even finish hearing the rest of the victims. So I think the prosecution did a good job in laying out the testimony today and starting off with these personal, very intimate details that were horrific and related to specific victims that the jury got to see.
All right, so the jury gets a 3-day weekend, Paul, after a more intensified week of testimony. They've got the time. They're not sequestered, which means they get to go home, watch TV, read the papers, peruse the internet. You see where I'm going here. Even though this trial hasn't garnered the attention that trials like Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby, there's still info out there, and it's just a click away. So nonetheless, is having such a long break a good or bad thing for either side, or insignificant?
Well, I think it's a good thing for the prosecution. I think the risk that you were talking about of having them look up or hear information, that we've had that from the beginning of the case. And, keep in mind that this judge has gone out of her way to structure what this jury will be exposed to and has been very clear in her rules, not just to the jury, but to the advocates in the courtroom as well. And we had that discussion earlier this week about the defense attorney tweeting inappropriately and putting information about the trial in the public domain. And so the rules that they are given, the jury that is not to look at that information, not to read the paper, not to tweet or Google information, or to have conversations about this trial with any of the people that they are encountering throughout this long weekend. But I have to say, what that leaves them with is the testimony that they were presented with all this week that actually painted R. Kelly as a predator. And I think that's what's going to resonate with them. And so when they come back next week, that's what they are going to come back with in their minds. And there's more evidence to come. And so if they are following the rules, I think the testimony and the evidence that they are getting is enough to have put them on the road to coming to a conclusion that seems so far to be pretty damning for the behavior for R. Kelly.
Now, we've given a lot of focus to these detailed accounts from Kelly's accusers, which have been incredibly hard to read and discuss, but we haven't given enough focus on the accusers and how they're being re-traumatized, having, to relive these alleged acts through their testimony. As former prosecutors, you and I know how important it is to prepare witnesses in these sorts of cases for the inevitable trauma that comes with testifying, but how do you think the prosecution prepared these witnesses?
I have no doubt as to how they prepare them. There's really only one way, generally, that you have to get victims to put on the stand in preparation for trials like this. You and I have both done that work, and we know that many of the guidelines are predetermined by the in limine motions and the legal arguments that the lawyers have made about who can testify, what they can testify to in those parameters. But that doesn't translate naturally to a victim or a witness coming on the stand. And so as a prosecutor, you need to bring in those folks ahead of time, show them the courtroom, talk to them about what's going to happen. I can't imagine that a case like this doesn't have victim witness advocates that are assigned to these victims that have been working with them over these past weeks and months in preparation for getting on the stand, telling them what's likely to happen and how it's going to happen. And that means getting them ready, because what you don't want to have is a victim or a witness that's scared on the stand or breaks down on the stand or isn't prepared for the questionings, where they are essentially reliving oftentimes their most traumatic moments with an audience. And so you need to let them know ahead of time what the questions are likely to be, what to anticipate from defense attorneys, and you need to explain and walk them through what their exposure is, especially in a case like this. The exposure is actually relevant. And when I say exposure, I mean their names, their identity. Is that going to be revealed? How it will be protected in the courtroom? What kind of questions will they have to answer that are personal to them and their identity and their personal information? So those are all the things that go into it. And now we just need to watch and make sure that they don't bounce against the parameters where it looks like they were either coaching those witnesses or they go beyond the eliminate restrictions that the court's given them.
All right, so now to the big question. Will we hear directly from the man himself? Now, it might be an obvious answer for trial junkies like us, but for the most part, people, especially jurors, want to hear from a defendant, even though they understand that the defendant has a legal right not to testify. But through testimony, Paul, we're hearing things that Kelly allegedly has said and done. So how else can he confront and deny these allegations?
Well, he's got to do it with his defense counsel. If he gets on that stand, I'll fall out on the floor. I can't imagine he is going to get up there and litany of information that has come out. And let's keep in mind, he has not taken the stand before in his cases. And I certainly don't presume, even with the cases that are still pending outside of this case, and those are the sexual assault charges that he has in other jurisdictions at a federal and state level, that he can take the stand. Because keep in mind, anything that he says is going to sound horrible after the jury has heard this very sympathetic narrative from a volume of folks, over a dozen men and women, that has been pretty consistent and pretty clear ahead of time before he gets on the stand. There's almost nothing that he can say. The only approach he has is to make legal arguments identifying that these individuals were acting willingly and independently. And he's got to make both of those arguments in order to fight these racketeering charges in order to be successful. But I don't think the pathway to those challenges is for him to testify personally. Although, listen, it's R. Kelly. And as we saw in that interview that he had with Gail, he is difficult to contain and may go in his own direction. I would be surprised if he got on the stand, but I would be here for it and ready to catch his every word just to hear what he is going to say.
All right, veteran prosecutor and BNC legal contributor Paul Henderson, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. After the break, we continue our focus on the disgraced singer R. Kelly with a man who has spent the better part of 2 decades chronicling Kelly's allegations of sexual assault. That's next on Making the Case.